Ballers files new private criminal charge against attorney Nirvan Singh this morning in the Georgia Magistrates Court. The charge, which was read in the court, states that Singh unlawfully and maliciously assaulted Ballers on March 20th, 2022. Singh appeared before Magistrate Shardel Isaacs Marcus and was placed on $100,000 bail and will make his next court appearance on July 6, 2022. Baller's attorney UC Anderson updated members of the media on the proceedings in the court.
With respect to that charge, the defense counsel today took the preliminary point that these proceedings today amount to an abuse of the court's process, and they applied for the matter to be stayed. That is to say that it is to be permanently stayed or temporarily stayed, and that application was based on the adverse publicity that was the subject of these proceedings for some time. The contention was that Mr. Singh was the victim of adverse publicity, and that will impugn the likely fairness of the proceedings. That's one. The second objection was that Mr. Singh is answering the same set of allegations, and he ought not to be vexed twice in the same matter. So that was the nature of the objection on today's date. The magistrate did not invite him to answer to the charge. She read the charge to him, and on the next occasion we will address the magistrate on the preliminary points raised by counsel before she invites him to plead. A defense counsel, that is. We return to court on the 6th of July 2022 at 10 a.m. on which we will have oral arguments on the preliminary points raised with respect to the stay, and the magistrate may or may not on that particular day make a ruling with respect to whether or not she believes that there are sufficient grounds to be stayed, for the matter to be stayed.
The DPP had discontinued the private charge against Singh on the previous occasion. Baller's attorney says he's optimistic this time around.
I'm very optimistic. As I have maintained all along, I am not enormously concerned by what people do and don't do. There is the law, and then there are human beings. People apply the law in different ways, people interpret the law in different ways, but there is a process to ultimately determine which interpretation is paramount, which interpretation is correct. And as long as you follow that process, you will get an outcome. Whether you're aggrieved with that outcome or satisfied with that outcome, it will not be known until you get to that stage. So everyone has a duty to do. Every constitutional office holder or otherwise, every counsel, whether you're representing defendant or virtual complainant in this case, there are responsibilities articulated in law and articulated in the Constitution. We just have to exercise those responsibilities until an independent arbiter makes a decision about the propriety of that exercise of those responsibilities. I'm not enormously concerned at all. I can measure the enormity of my concern on those issues. Most other things are immeasurable. I am absolutely not concerned with the exercise of any power.
Singh is the son of former Chancellor of the Judiciary, Carl Singh.